Hey, it's me, and welcome back to Sobriety for Beginners, because I know that I'm just a beginner in all this. Had a crazy couple weeks. Kids are back to school, which is good. Everybody's back to their routine, and my husband's back to school as well because he's a school teacher, and everybody was finally getting back on pace. And then we had some nasty weather come and just throw a monkey wrench in our plan. Um, it was hard. It definitely was hard. We had a big storm come through and knocked down some trees, knocked down our fence. We lost power for a few days, and it was stressful. Definitely was stressful. So the first day that we had lost power, I had taken me and my two kids to my sister-in-law's house because she had a backup generator. So we go over there and we spend the night with her. And when we first got there, it was late at night, and we basically went straight up to bed. But of course, with no power, everything was dark. There were no lights on. And she basically just gave us like an extension cord from her generator. And she was like, "This is your lifeline. This is what you get, you know?" So I plugged in my iPad. All three of us got in our PJs. We got in bed. We watched our videos on my iPad, and we just snuggled and fell asleep. Well, the next morning, I woke up, and the room that we were staying in was her daughter's room. And her daughter's older. She's, 21, 22 years old. And when we woke up, I woke up before the kids, of course. I had noticed that there was a little box of wine in her room. One of those little boxes that you can get at the store. And it was like Barefoot Rosé or something like that, But, for her, it's okay because she's able to do so. She's 21 years old. She's able to go and drink and have her life. And we were, lucky enough to, borrow her room for the night. And I saw it, and I grabbed it, and I brought it downstairs, and I gave it to my sister-in-law, and I, said, I just didn't want the kids to get it. I didn't want the kids to grab it, not thinking what it is, and open it up, because it has a little screw top on the top. And she was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that was in there." She had some friends over. I didn't even go in her room because it was dark, and I just didn't, think to look in there. And it was one of those moments of like, I see it, I recognize it, and I don't need it. Like, I wanted it out of my sight as quickly as possible. I wanted it out of my life. I wanted it gone. She didn't even know it was there. She didn't even realize that it was there. I could have easily grabbed it and drank it, and nobody would have known. But if I had grabbed it and drank it, then I was immediately going to be thinking about stopping at the store on my way back to the house and getting more wine. And then spending all day thinking about how I can lie to go back to the store to go get more. You know what I mean? Like, it would have immediately started that cycle of drinking again. It really would have. It would have immediately started that cycle of, I need this in my body as quickly as I can, as fast as I can, and I need as much as I can. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, nope, not today. Not today. I'm stressed out. I didn't have power in my house. I've got some trees down. I got my fence knocked down. Not today. So I gave it to her because I didn't need it in my life. So it felt good giving it to her because it was kind of like proof, like, I'm doing this. I know that I'm doing this, and I'm showing you that I'm doing this because I really want to do this. I really want to stay sober, and I don't need that extra temptation kind of hanging out there, And once again, I mean, nobody would have known, honestly, but I would have, and it would have just honestly had caused more and more days of drinking. I would have immediately started thinking about, how am I going to get the next bottle? Where can I hide it? Where can I put it? How can I, how it smell? no one's gonna know, you know what I mean? And it would have just started a terrible, terrible cycle. So I just needed it gone, out of my life. Thank you very much. Go away. But other than that, you know, we got back home the following day. We got our power back on, and then after the power came back on, it went back out again. And my family didn't have power, so they actually came and stayed with us. So I had my mom, my stepdad, and my brother staying with us here in our house, and that added more stress on top of everything else, you know. My husband was getting irritated just because he's got extra 3 humans in his house, and you know, everybody's going in and out and dragging leaves, you know, in the side, and extra dishes and extra foods being eaten, you know, just like the normal things that humans do, but with 3 more humans on top of it, you know. And so he was just getting stressed, and of course he's venting to me, and so I'm having to listen to him vent. And so it was hard. It was hard having additional people in our house, but I was glad to have those people in my house because they didn't have power and they didn't have anywhere to go. It made me feel good knowing that they were safe. So I would rather deal with my husband complain a little bit extra than normal, knowing that my family was in a safe spot, you know. They were dry because the humidity was awful. They had power, they could take hot showers, they had food, you know. I needed to know that they were safe and they were in my house, and so that made me feel good knowing that they were safe. So it was a stressful event. So they got to go home. Once they got power on, they got to go home and go back to their lives, and we got to go back to our lives. And you know, everybody kind of ironed out the kinks after a few days, and so we had to drag a bunch of stuff out to the street, and limbs and trees and sticks and all kinds of stuff, and had to break up the fence and put it out to the street. So that's another expense that we're gonna have to worry about getting, putting up a new fence and stuff. But I'm just glad that no damage to the house. Storms are little nasty things that come every once in a while, but you just have to, you know, take them with a grain of salt and just know that, you know, as long as my family's safe, I'm safe. I'm happy with that. So the stress was pretty hard. The night that we had stayed at my sister-in-law's house, I just had like this crazy feeling of, I don't know if I was scared or worried or just, you know, a lot kind of, you know, weighing on me. My husband didn't come with us. He actually stayed here at the house just to make sure like nobody was going to come loot our house or, you know, try and break in or anything. So we were separated, and I cried. I cried because I didn't know how to feel. And my kids were sitting at the table, and we were eating chicken dumplings, and they were like, "Mommy, why are you crying?" And I'm like, they're happy tears, you know. And I tried to convince them that I was, you know, happy that we were doing what we were doing, but it was more of me just, you know, feeling all the feelings. I was scared, I was worried, didn't know what was going on. My husband was at the house by himself, so it just kind of boiled up into lots of different feelings, and I didn't know how to process them, so I cried. But it was a good cry because it meant that, you know, I needed to feel those feels, because drinking would have, yes, alleviated that nervousness and anxiety and everything else to go with it, but I would have drank for 3 or 4 days after that, and then it would have ruined it, you know. I would be back in that cycle of drinking constantly. So I needed to feel those feels. I needed to feel anxious and scared and worried, but I feel better now. You know, the house is safe, my kids are safe, I'm safe. So we made it through the stress. Stress is hard, but we made it through, and it was okay. So I'm glad that I'm out here and able to talk with you and just kind of put everything out there, and I want to get back on track with it. We just had so much going on with life and schedules and, you know, everybody trying to get back on track, and it was my own fault really, just letting it kind of slip under the radar because I had so much other things going on. But I really want to get back on track with talking every single day because it feels good to kind of get it out. So I miss it. I miss you guys. So I'll leave it at that, and I hope everybody else has a great day.